right, guys, welcome back to the Wrestling Show. This is our Raw and SmackDown review from this past week. I'm your host, Mikey, and this is my co-host.
I'm Andrea.
Welcome to the show. Let's get into it. So, on Raw this week, we opened up, they kind of let us know that there's going to be a superstar shakeup, and they were letting us know because the Raw after WrestleMania is always crazy. Mm-hmm. So they had to make sure to let us know, hey guys, this is an international crowd, and the Raw after WrestleMania is crazy. They're going to be booing people they normally cheer, and they're going to cheer people they normally boo. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was funny that they make a point of that, because it is, a little bit crazier every year after WrestleMania, but
yeah,
they just had to make a point of that. But so what we opened up with was Stephanie McMahon enters. She's got her arm in a sling, and I even noticed she's like walking to the ring with a limp. Mm-hmm. And then she gets out to the ring, and she's like talking about how, all the fans are booing her, and she's like, oh man, if I was in any other crowd, they would have sympathy for me because I'm in such pain. And the fans start booing her more. And then what else? Like she was saying, like, oh, the fans should be thanking me because I brought out the best in Ronda. Ronda, did so good because of me, and because I antagonized her, that's what brought out her best. And fans are booing her like crazy.
Yeah.
And then what does she do next? She introduces Ronda Rousey.
Yep, she did.
Yeah, and then she pulls a whole Vincent McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin type of deal, like when Stone Cold Steve Austin, after he started getting big, Vince McMahon went to him and was like, oh, you and I, we could be really something together if you just work for me, type of deal. And so that's pretty much what Stephanie was doing to Ronda here, like, oh, Ronda, I could make you a star, we could be stars together. Mm-hmm. You just let me polish you up, and if you do what I say. And then Ronda's like, nope, that's not what's gonna happen. Stephanie McMahon goes to give her a handshake, and then Ronda grabs her arm and throws her, does a little hip toss on her, gets her in an arm bar and really twists that arm, and Stephanie starts screaming and yelling, and she's in pain.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was... I liked that. I liked how they what they did with that, for sure.
Yeah, and I would say, because everybody's, she's the most well-known woman athlete in the world, so everybody's been really critical of her. And I would say after her performance at WrestleMania and then her performance in this promo here, man, she's looking good. Like, I think she's proven all the doubters wrong.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
She looks good to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then when I remember when Ronda has her in that arm bar, fans are cheering, "You deserve it!" And then when she does finally get up and make her way out of the ring, the fans are cheering, "Na na na na," the goodbye thing, So
yeah,
they do that. So I thought that was good. Again, then right after this is when the announcing table once again is telling, so like, oh man, the crowd here is crazy. They're cheering people they normally boo and booing people they normally cheer. Because the fans can get kind of hectic and kind of take over the show, the Raw right after WrestleMania. But they really wanted to make sure everybody knew on this broadcast. Next up, we had Nia Jax come out, and she's like, she's got the belt, and everybody's excited for her, so they're cheering, "You deserve it." And then Alexa comes out with Mickey James, and she was like still making fat jokes and saying that Nia throws her weight around and nobody likes her in the back. And the fans, like, they start calling her an a-hole.
Oh, yeah.
Alexa, that is. They were chanting a-hole. And then what else? Oh yeah, and then Alexa was talking about how like the only reason why she lost is because she's actually the good person and not Nia. Because she was so distressed for Mickey James because Nia attacked her before the match and whatnot. So I thought Alexa did a good job of playing up her heel there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Then what? Oh, then Alexa telling her, yeah, nobody wants to be your partner. Nobody likes you back there, and Nia's finally like, okay, shut up. Like, you know what? Actually, I do have a partner. And then boom, out comes Ember Moon, called up from NXT. Ember Moon makes her debut on the main roster. I was really excited for that. Ember Moon was one of the ones that I wanted to see called up. In fact, that's what I predicted for WrestleMania weekend, that she would lose the championship at NXT and then she would get called up. I'm glad she got called up to Raw this week. So yeah,
I'm glad too.
Yeah,
I'm glad for anybody who gets called up, but I liked Ember Moon. I only saw a couple of NXT, was it? Yeah, NXT, and yeah, I saw Ember Moon and she was really good. So
yeah, I think she's really good. And during this match, Nia starts out, but then when Nia tags in Ember Moon, like the fans go crazy, and because they really like Ember Moon. I think all the fans who do watch NXT and are familiar with her.
Yep.
And then I really like her finisher, the Eclipse, that thing that she does off the top rope. It's like she does a front flip and catches their head, and it's almost like a stunner off of the top rope flip thing. So I think she's got one of the best looking, like cool looking finishers in the WWE right now. So hopefully her character will get over with the fans on the main roster, and we'll continue to see more of her. So Nia Jax and Ember Moon ended up winning this. Next up was a segment that broke my heart. Braun Strowman and Nicholas had to relinquish their tag team titles because Nicholas has to go back to school, so they can't keep the tag team titles.
That's too bad.
Yeah. But when he grows up and he can wrestle again, somebody's going to get these hands, he said. So I thought that was good. And fans were cheering for it. I mean, I've seen some, like, people who don't like it, and then I've even seen some, like, old wrestlers who are, like, traditionalists or whatever, like saying like, oh, they've gone too far now, they let a kid be a champion. And it's like, man, come on, it's wrestling. We already know it's not real. If we can have Kane and Undertaker be brothers when they're not brothers in real life, and supposedly Kane was wearing that bodysuit and the mask that he had for the longest time because he had burns all over his body and he was speaking with a voice box, and then now he doesn't need one. Like, there's always a bunch of silly storylines. If you could let those kind of silly things go, then you should allow a kid to be a champion.
Right.
A 10-year-old should be allowed to be the champion, and it was only for one night, so come on.
And it was just to show how strong and scary Braun Strowman is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he doesn't really need a partner to take on two other wrestlers.
Yeah, like I said, and then that was the other thing. Some people were upset, like, oh, well, it makes the bar look bad. And like I said on our final review for WrestleMania 34, is I don't think it makes the bar look bad at all. They lost to the best guy in the company right now, so I wouldn't say that they look bad. They're already, they're having an eliminator thing, tag team eliminator, that's going to fight for the championship, and the Bar doesn't even have to participate in that. They already get to be in the final round for the championship, so everybody knows they're already the best. So yeah, but yeah, so now we have vacant tag team titles, and we're getting an eliminator tournament thing to see who gets it at the Greatest Royal Rumble at the end of the month. Next up, we got the call-up. We got No Way Jose. He comes out with his conga line, everybody dancing down to the ring.
Oh, yeah.
He's going against some jobber. What did they say his name was? Jordan Skyler or something like that. I can't remember. I'd like to say his name because he went in there to do a job. But anyways, he went in there against No Way Jose. And then, yeah, I don't have much to say about this match. We got No Way Jose doing his little fun dance party, and then he won the match against the Jobber.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it either.
Yeah.
But I did like his little conga line.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. I have to admit, I haven't seen much of No Way Jose myself, even from when he was in NXT. From what I've seen, I'm not like super excited about it. Like maybe he's going to prove me wrong down the line. Like I said, I haven't seen much of him myself, so maybe he's a really good performer in the ring or something, but I wasn't super impressed with the character. I was like, okay, great. And he's doing a conga line. Like I've seen this in wrestling before. He's not doing anything different. There's always, there's been plenty of guys in the past who are the party guy, the fun guy, but, when I see him actually perform in the ring, maybe I'll like him. So somebody to look for.
Yep.
The next thing we had up after this was the part where the Bar actually go up to Kurt Angle and say like, oh, we want our tag titles back since they relinquished it. And then that's when Kurt Angle lets them know about the Eliminator thing. And then after this, we get a tag team match of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus the Revival. The Revival ended up getting a win here. And this was one of the matches this was the first round of the tournament for the Raw tag titles. The Revival win, so they're moving on to face whoever they face against next week to find out who's gonna go against the Bar at the Greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view. What did you think about this one?
Well, I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah, I think it was, two tag teams. All four guys are like old school style wrestlers, and yeah, I'm not super excited about either of them myself.
Did I miss this? I don't know if I accidentally fast forwarded through this. I hope I didn't.
Well,
I crammed everything just because I watched this the day after he did. So
yeah, okay. Let's see what else do we get up next. Next up, we had Seth Rollins enter. The fans are popping for him, saying you deserve it. They're giving the yes chant. They're, he's, he says something about like, oh, everybody who was in the Shield, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and now Seth Rollins, they're all Grand Slam winners. And then, so everybody's chanting Grand Slam Rollins. He's won all the major belts in WWE now, so he's a Grand Slam title guy. Then Finn Balor interrupts. He says he has something to get off his chest, and Finn says that Seth was better last night, but he wants to go against him one-on-one. And then Seth agrees. But then The Miz comes out. The Miz says that Seth doesn't deserve it. I really like this part because this was the part where Miz was talking about how he lost, and when he lost, it made his wife cry, and then because his wife was crying, it made his daughter cry, and I like that whole little segment. I thought The Miz did a really good job of.
I thought it was because his daughter started crying.
Whatever way it was. His daughter started crying, so his wife started crying, whatever. His family started crying because he lost, and he's blaming it on Seth and Finn. Whatever way it was, they were all crying, and he's upset that, Finn and Seth would make his family cry. I thought it was good acting. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny too, honey.
Yeah. Good. Tell me about it.
I did. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah. What else?
What else about it?
Yeah.
It was very comical. Didn't we're not there yet, but what's his face come out too?
Yeah, so then Seth says that Miz should have his rematch since he wants to have it, and then Miz says, no, it's my rematch clause, so I'll use it when I want to use it, and I'm going to use my rematch clause at Backlash, which is like the week, it's 10 days after the Greatest Royal Rumble. And then Yeah, so then, what happened right after that? Oh, right. That's right. So then The Miz, with the Miztourage, challenge Seth and Finn in a match. Obviously, it's going to be 3-on-2.
Mm-hmm.
So then this is when we get the return of Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy music hits. Everybody goes crazy for Jeff Hardy because he's been a fan favorite for, ever since he's been in WWE. And yeah, so then we get a match that is, we think we're going to get a match with the 3-on-3 of them right then, but the Miztourage run out.
Yeah.
Get all scared. So what we get next is a match between Sasha Banks and Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose comes down with Sonya Deville, obviously, and Paige, because they're all partners, part of the Absolution. Sasha Banks comes out, and then Bayley comes out. Sasha seems surprised by that. And she's standing over in Sasha's corner. And then during the match, they end up on the outside. Mandy pushes Bayley, and then Bayley ends up accidentally clotheslining Sasha.
That's right.
That ended up causing Sasha the match. And so Mandy Rose ended up getting the win here. But what I thought was important about this match is after this happened, the other two members of Absolution leave. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Paige stays in the ring. She's on the mic, and this is where we get her speech where she's announcing her retirement. Her emotional speech for her saying that, because of her neck injury, she can't compete in the ring anymore. That she talks about how Daniel Bryan has been an inspiration to her, and she's hoping that one day maybe she can get back in the ring as well.
Yeah.
She said she talked to Edge, who she said was backstage, and she talked to him and got words of encouragement from him because you've never seen Edge, have you?
Nope.
I'll have to show you some old Edge matches, but Edge was a really good wrestler, and he actually had his career ended early. He has the same neck injury that Paige has, and I've heard him talk about it on his podcast, and this was before Paige announced her retirement. Edge talked about it on his podcast like months ago when he found out about Paige's injury, and he was like, "Oh man, I don't know if she's ever going to be able to wrestle again because he's never going to be able to wrestle again, and he's older now anyway." But with the type of injuries she has, it's not looking likely that she'd ever be able to wrestle again. I mean, but with the way medical advances so fast nowadays, who knows? Like, she's only 25 right now, so maybe there could be a day where they have some sort of surgery that they could fix what she has, and she could get back in the ring. But it sounds unlikely. And then so she talks about how, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to be done in the ring, and I might even have to find other things to do to make a living, type of deal. So that was a emotional speech for her, and everybody was sad to see that because she was like one of the biggest parts of the women's revolution in WWE. So that was that. Next up after this, we get Elias, and I would say this was like the loudest chants for Elias that I've heard so far when he does the what does WWE stand for? Like, this was obviously, it's the Raw after WrestleMania, so this crowd is always like loud on no matter what they're doing, cheering, booing, whatever. But man, when they did the walk with Elias, it was like, sitting at home on watching it on TV, it was like, wow, that was loud. Like, I can't imagine what it sounded like in the arena, and even Elias himself, like, when they did it, he was like, oh wow, like that was good. I mean, because fans really love Elias, so I mean, they really were cheering him and doing everything that they're supposed to do for him. So the crowd's going crazy for him. and then when he was playing his song, the crowd was clapping along, to the beat for him. And, he's doing usual heel talking bad about the city. And then this is where we get Bobby Lashley. Music hits for him, and he enters. He comes out and attacks Elias. He holds Elias up in that, vertical suplex for, I don't know how long, but forever. Mm-hmm. And he looked good coming back.
Yeah, I haven't seen him before. So
yeah, so
it was good to see him. I mean, he's a big guy, so.
Yeah, he's a big, scary guy. That's always been his thing. That's a big part of his character. Mm-hmm. And so he was it's actually been 10 years since the last time he was in WWE. He's actually fought some MMA himself, not for UFC. I think he fought for Bellator, maybe. But anyways, he fought that, the mixed martial arts style fighting for a little while, and then he's been doing a indie wrestling, Impact Wrestling, what used to be called TNA.
Oh,
and they make a joke about that later. We'll get to that. But yeah, he looked really good here, and I am not going to claim to know how good of a wrestler he is now, how good he's gotten it over the past 10 years and what he's doing over it in TNA, because I haven't watched it. But from everything I've heard from everybody, all the reports and other people who have watched TNA that I have listened to, they say that he's actually really good at, in-ring performing now. He's actually a good wrestler, doing the type of wrestling moves. So I'm excited to see that, because he is a big, strong, scary guy that, is believable that he could crush people.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely looks like he could.
Yeah. The only funny thing I noticed about his look now is I don't remember this before. He had did you notice his eyebrows? Something was weird with his eyebrows. They looked like they were painted on or something.
No, it looks like he tattooed his eyebrows on, or what is it called, microblading?
Whatever it is, yeah.
It looked like that's what he did.
Gotcha. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, that was that. So it was cool to see Bobby Lashley come back. Next up, this is where they make the joke next, actually. So Kevin and Sami, they're wearing suits. They come up to Kurt Angle and say, "Oh, we're looking for a job," and Kurt tells them, "Oh, well, I hear TNA is hiring," and you actually hear the fans from the crowd cheer for that. And Kurt tells them "Okay, yeah, you guys can have, we have a spot, but we only have one spot, so you guys are gonna have to fight for it. Whichever one of you win can have the open spot that I have right now." So that's a match that gets set up for later in the night. Then we get Heath Slater and Rhino. They open up a challenge to fight any other tag team in the back. They made this real unclear. I don't think this match was part of the Eliminator tournament that they go on, because I don't think they mentioned that. So I guess it was just another match.
Okay.
But so Heath Slater and Rhino are standing in the ring. They open up the challenge, and then we get our next NXT call up. The Authors of Pain come out. They're with Paul Ellering. Of course, the Authors of Pain just totally dominate Heath Slater and Rhino. They go to exit the ring, and then Paul Ellering, the AOP, kind of stop him from leaving with them, and they're kind of give him a message "Oh, we're moving on without you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. What did you think of this match? And what did you think of the Authors of Pain? A new tag team called up from NXT.
I thought they were pretty... I've seen them before in NXT. I thought they were really good. They're also two really big dudes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be nice to see more big dude tag teams.
Yeah.
But also nice that they left their little manager behind, because I don't know, what did he do? Did he ever talk or anything?
He didn't talk in this at all, but that's what he normally does. He didn't talk here at all. So from what I understand is that, Paul Ellering, he's a Hall of Famer. He's actually been a manager for a lot of tag teams in the past. Some of the most famous tag teams. And from what he's older now, so from what I understand, that he doesn't want to be in the part of the main roster of WWE, because that's all the live shows. That's the ones that go on the road. They do all the road shows, all the dark matches, plus the weekly TV shows. On NXT, it's all pre-taped, and they only air weekly. So you go, you do your job, and then you can be done. You can go home. You're in Florida the whole time.
Okay.
You don't have to be on the road. So from what I understand, this was probably planned out because Paul Ellering doesn't want to be on the road.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that makes sense.
I thought it was a decent way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, better for the tag team too. Yeah. I'm sure they could do their own promos.
Yeah, and I like the Authors of Pain. Like you said, they're two big guys. I think they're, guys that you can believe legitimately right away that, like, okay, these guys can come up and compete for a title right away. Like, they're going to get themselves in the mix quickly.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Next up after that, we get Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns enters. Fans, of course, are booing him, as we expected. And then he says he got his butt kicked. And then the fans are actually cheering for that. And I think we probably get some, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't remember off the top of my head for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised here if one of the announcers said something about, like, oh, listen to this crazy crowd. People, like, they're booing somebody they normally cheer. And, that's really not the case with Roman Reigns. He's more of a 50-50 guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roman Reigns is here. He's upset with Brock Lesnar. He's upset with the fact that, he found out on the internet that, he's going to have a steel cage match with Brock Lesnar at Greatest Royal Rumble, because he thought, Brock Lesnar was talking about how he was going to leave WWE, and now he finds out on the internet that, Brock Lesnar's actually coming back, and he's going to have a match with them and whatnot. But yeah, you saw the big old bump that Roman Reigns on his forehead too.
The bruises too, yeah.
Yeah, from the match from the night before, and you could see like the scabbing on his forehead from where they put stitches in and stuff.
Yeah.
What did you think of this promo? Was it effective for you?
Yeah, I thought it was effective. I'd like to see them go at it again.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get it for sure. I mean, it seems like that's what they've been doing for the last couple of years now. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar going
Maybe this is the last one. Maybe they're moving on.
I don't know. We'll see.
I still like Roman Reigns, even though everybody else doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Roman Reigns myself. I mean, he does do a really good job performing. I just am ready to see something else. Like, I'm glad Bobby Lashley's here, because from what I understand, I think so WWE didn't release the terms of Brock's new contract right away, whether it was like a short-term deal, a long-term deal. I think I heard somewhere that it is going to be a longer-term deal now, so maybe Brock Lesnar will be around for a while. So I'm glad that they brought Bobby Lashley back, and maybe they'll start a feud with him. It'll be a little bit, something new at least. And Bobby Lashley's like a big, strong guy too, super muscular guy. So at least it would be something that is believable.
Yeah.
A believable opponent for him to step in and challenge him right away. Because I like Roman Reigns, and I think he does a good job performing, but I don't want to see the same match over and over all the time. Like, I'm ready. Like, that's why I really was hoping Roman Reigns was going to win here, even though a lot of fans didn't want him to. Like, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted him to win is because I was ready for the storyline to move on and not keep getting this match over and over. Like, I wouldn't have mind, like Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman going at each other, because at the Elimination Chamber one, when Brock Lesnar eliminated everybody except for Roman Reigns, when Roman Reigns won that, afterwards, like on the after show, he was talking about how he couldn't wait to like have more matches with Braun Strowman, because he said it felt like Batman and Joker, like they were destined to fight each other forever. Yeah. So I'd rather see some of that rather than like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns more and more and more. Like, I'm ready for that to be done. So
it's done.
Then Yeah, so then actually here, so we get Samoa Joe comes out next, and Samoa Joe's like, "Oh man, what are you talking about?" You know,
oh, that's right.
You know, like after you're done fighting,
That talking Roman Reigns.
yeah, after you're done fighting Brock Lesnar, at the Greatest Royal Rumble, I'm going to be waiting for you at Backlash, and I'm going to challenge you after Backlash, and then I'm going to kick your butt at Backlash. So I was excited to see Samoa Joe return because I'm a big fan of Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think I ever got to see Samoa Joe. Maybe.
I'm sure you have. Our son, who you probably just heard walking through here and whatnot, he's a big fan of Samoa Joe. I know when we were watching before, when Samoa Joe, before he got injured, our son really liked Samoa Joe. So next up after this, we get a match of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt versus Titus Worldwide. We get, during this match, we get a little like face off between Matt Hardy and Titus O'Neil, where Titus O'Neil's doing his Worldwide and Matt Hardy's going Delete, and they're just going back and forth with that. I thought that was funny. That was good.
I like that too.
You know, then Bray Wyatt gets tagged in, and fans are cheering. I mean, they're singing the, you know, he's got the whole world in his hands for him. You know, I think the fans are really, you know, it's the whole Woken Warrior thing with Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt joining now. I think the fans are actually really enjoying that. This, from what I understand, was part of the tag tournament thing. And so Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt won, so they are moving on in the Eliminator tournament thing.
Okay.
What did you think about this match overall?
Well, I thought it was a little bit awkward, but they did pretty well together. I mean, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. But I feel like they need to work on their chemistry a little more.
Yeah, I would say it was a little awkward too. Like, the only part that I definitely feel like was definitely awkward was the finish, where Bray Wyatt does his like Sister Abigail, and he did like the Sister Abigail, but he didn't slam the person. He just like got him in the Sister Abigail, lifted him up, and like flung him backwards so that Matt Hardy could then do the Twist of Fate. But the Sister Abigail doesn't really do anything unless you slam him. So
yeah,
I guess it's just to signify that they're together, but it didn't really.
Yeah.
That little moveset didn't really work it for me.
Maybe it was an accident.
No, it was definitely not an accident. It was set up.
Like when Matt Hardy didn't let go of the rope. Was that an accident? Remember when Titus O'Neil was going to kick him in the face? Was it Titus O'Neil?
I don't remember that part.
No, you don't remember? He was going to kick him, but Matt Hardy like hung on to the rope, and then he just like fell, and you don't remember that?
No, I can't remember.
Well, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, remember, and the announcer's like, "Oh, I guess Matt Hardy didn't let go," or something like that. I don't know. Okay, well, that wasn't. Anyways. But it happened.
Okay. But are you sure it was a mistake in the ref? I mean, the announcer just wasn't saying it was a mistake. Like, I don't think.
He didn't say it was a mistake. I think he was playing along with it, like, oh.
Oh, okay.
And he misses. I don't know.
I don't remember that.
I'll have to rewatch it and then tell him about it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was neat. Let's see. Then next up, we got the Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. They put on a good match here. You know, obviously this is, you know, for the contract, who would get to see their spot to keep a spot on Raw. They do a suplex off the top rope. Both get counted out to 10. So both, and then JoJo gets on the mic and she announces that because both competitors lost, or, you know, neither won, that both are not going to get signed to contract, and fans are cheering for that. So I think that's pretty crazy. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So we don't have this mic quiet for too long. What else did you think about this match? What do you think, might be the outcome of this match? Obviously, they've been fired from SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get a spot on Raw. The Superstar Shakeup is next week. What do you think? Well, what is something that you'd like to see happen to Sami and Kevin?
Oh, do you think they'll split them up? They're two very good. They're very good performers, and they do very well together, but I bet they'll split them up.
Yeah.
Just because.
But then where are they going to go? That's what I'm asking you. So they've technically, they've been told that they're fired from SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them won and got hired on the spot at Raw. So, when they do the Superstar Shakeup starting this coming Monday, what do you think is going to happen? Where do you think they might end up? What do you think is...
I think, you know what? Just because they got fired from SmackDown, maybe they'll both end up on Raw, even though they lost that match. But did anybody win that match?
No, nobody won. That's why they said at the end of the thing, neither of them won. Neither of
them
will be hired.
So maybe the Raw will hire them on.
Yeah.
And they'll be their own tag team.
Yeah.
Again.
That could be what happens. Also, Paige, could hire him. But we'll see.
Oh, rehire them, yeah.
Yeah. Or, what I would really like to see, they made a joke about it, but I would love to see Sami and Kevin do some sort of indie run. We watched Andre the Giant documentary, and they talked about it on there how Vince McMahon Sr., when he had signed Andre the Giant, he would loan out Andre the Giant to all the other promoters. It'd be cool if Kevin and Sami, they did that for a while. I don't know how well other promoters would want to do this sort of thing, but if Sami and Kevin, you could even just send them to NXT, and because they've been superstars on the main roster, you could send them down there and they could be heels down there, both of them, and they could just complain the whole time down there oh, we should be superstars, we should be on the main roster. Well, why are we even here at this dumb indie, this lower tier promotion, blah, 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 blah. And they could, get heat from the fans every week just by saying how these fans are losers and, they're not even at a main event type of thing. I think that would be kind of cool for their characters to do just for a short amount of time. You do that for a month or two, and then you get them called back up to whichever, SmackDown or roster, wherever they end up back.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So next, after this, we get a little promo where Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Jeff Hardy are talking in the back, and then Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy come up to them, and they start talking, and then because Jeff Hardy is just talking to Seth and Finn normally, and then when Matt and Bray come up, then Jeff Hardy does the Brother Nero thing, and he starts talking like Matt Hardy talks, and he congratulates his brother and whatnot, and then he walks off, and then Seth and Finn are what was that? And Jeff's he's my brother.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I gotta go along with it. He's my brother. So I thought that was pretty funny. I think that's really good because it is a very silly character, and everybody knows it's silly. So for Jeff Hardy to be the straight man in the situation where he's you got the comedy duo, in comedies you could have the really silly guy and then a really straight guy. So I think it was good to have a contrasting guy there for Jeff Hardy to be the straight man. It's silly, but just go with it.
Right. Or maybe it's a kind of a play on what they did in the TNA, remember the kind of an inside joke.
Right, I think that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying they were doing.
Wow. Okay.
And I thought they did it, and I thought they did it really well.
Yeah. I thought so too. I mean, it was awkward but funny.
Yeah.
To watch.
So then we do get the match next to close out the night was the Miz Taraj versus Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Jeff Hardy. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Jeff Hardy ended up getting the win here. And then I think they said something about the mic, because fans go crazy, and at these events they try to like hijack stuff, like when they see something they don't like or whatever, like especially at WrestleMania, like they'll toss like beach balls around in the crowd. And so I think maybe it was like Seth got on the mic, or one of them did, and said like, oh, you guys always get to have all the fun, we want to join in the fun. So they started doing their finisher moves on the Miztourage like over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I thought it was good. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun too. And it was fun to see Jeff Hardy, especially when he was like coming in the ring with less clothes like almost every time. I didn't see I don't know if like the camera picked up on it, but like I just thought, like, where did his shirt go, or where did his sleeves go? I'm like, wasn't he wearing sleeves? And then, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I thought it was weird and funny. Like, what? Why is he losing clothes?
I'm gonna honestly say that wasn't something I even noticed. I didn't
I
pay
noticed
attention.
it.
Yeah.
I noticed these things.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, I guess. But, yeah, it wasn't something I noticed. But... That's
I don't know
cool.
what his deal is. Like, does he just rip off his clothes in the middle of it and just throw it out to the audience, or what?
I wouldn't say that was a normal thing that Jeff Hardy does. So I was, like I said, it wasn't something I even noticed. So maybe, he threw him off at some point during the match. I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
It didn't stick out for me. I know what you're watching when you're watching wrestling now.
Well, I just noticed sometimes I notice the little details.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's how we finished Raw, so let's get it over to our SmackDown review. SmackDown this week opened up with Shane McMahon. He wants to thank the fans for the great week, that past week they had for WrestleMania week. And then he mentions how Daniel Bryan has stepped down as GM because he wants to be a full-time wrestler again. And, he's so happy for Daniel Bryan. Mm-hmm. And then... here he announces that Paige is going to be our new SmackDown GM, and fans are going crazy for that. They're cheering the yes chant for Paige. Mm-hmm. They're chanting, "This is your house." And then she talks about how, like she was very thankful. Like Shane McMahon was the first one that approached her after she announced her retirement, and was given an opportunity to be a GM.
Yeah.
And then she says that she wants to make her first night a special one. So she announces that, Daniel Bryan is back. And so everybody, a dream match that everybody would like to see that they haven't got to see because Daniel Bryan has gotten injured would be Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. So she's going to make that happen tonight, and fans are going crazy for that. Mm-hmm. But I like the way she did the whole setup. When she was doing this, she was like, we're going to get to see a match and Daniel Bryan versus, and then, fans are shouting, who, like, mm-hmm. Like the New Day does. And then, they're doing AJ Styles, and then they were cheering for Rusev, cheering Rusev Day. So I think Paige did a really good job of playing off the fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised not many more general managers or other people do that. But no, they do, now that I think of it. But yeah, she did a really good job doing that. Playing with the fans, interacting with the fans.
Yeah, I think she did the best. I mean, I think she's got a chance to be the best general manager we have. I mean, Kurt Angle's Kurt Angle. He's not the greatest promo guy. Like, you could tell he's acting when he's out there because mm-hmm. He's probably got to put a lot of effort into it. It doesn't look super good when he's doing it. Daniel Bryan, especially I noticed at WrestleMania, like he just looks happy. Like you could tell the difference between when he was like being the GM because it's kind of something he had to do, but he actually wanted to be wrestling. The difference from like when he was GM to now, like he's actually got like a real genuine smile on his face. He looks happy to be there. Like he's doing what he loves to do. Mm-hmm. So I think, Paige is going to be a better general manager than Daniel Bryan was, just because she's so good on the mic and interacting with the fans, like you said, and doing all that. Because she can be, she can be a baby face manager, but she's also can play like a really good heel. Like that's kind of what she does. So she could play a really good heel manager as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, maybe this is the way Sami and Kevin Owens get their job back. Like I would love to see them, like I said, go down to NXT for a while, you know, complain about the having to be on NXT, and then Paige could hire them later on, hire them back, and you know, that could be like part of her heel move is she's bringing back Kevin and Sami, and then because you know we know Shane's got to get surgery on his hernia or whatnot, so maybe by that time he's recovered from his hernia thing, and then so he's coming back, and then now he's mad at Paige because Paige has hired them back, and that starts a feud with them again, type of deal. Anyways, I like the move of Paige being general manager.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Next up after this, we got Usos versus New Day. Usos end up getting the win here. Yeah, what did you think about this?
I liked it. Yeah, I don't remember much what happened in this one though, so maybe it wasn't too memorable to me.
I thought it was a good match. Like the Usos do their like little signature move where they get somebody in the corner and then do like double super kicks to their head, like in the corner type of deal. Big E did like a big a move I really liked is like Big E because he's a big guy, so it's cool to see him do. I don't remember which of the Usos was on the apron, but somebody was standing on the outside on the apron, and then Big E did like a big spear on him through the ropes, and they landed on the outside.
Right.
That was a pretty cool move.
Yeah. Looks like it hurt too.
Yeah, but it was a good match. I mean, the Usos ended up winning here, and then the Bludgeon Brothers come out, and they're acting all scary, and they're like pointing their mallets at them at the in the ring, and that was the end of that. Then I think it went to commercial or whatever, so
yeah, it
didn't lead to anywhere, but we saw the Bludgeon Brothers come out. Next up after that, we got Renee Young does a little promo with Shinsuke backstage, and she asks Nakamura, why did you do what you did at WrestleMania? And then Shinsuke's like, I'm so sorry. I feel so sorry about what I did. And then he winks, and, then Renee Young's like, you're obviously being disingenuous. So can you tell us why you did what you did? And then Shinsuke's like, I know speak English, so... Yeah, I thought it was funny. Yeah. So like I said, I thought this was something that, at WrestleMania originally, like I was distraught over the way that happened, that the match itself, like that was the way they did the match, that Nakamura turned heel. But after seeing this, I'm really glad that Nakamura's heel because he's got a unique way of playing the character. So I think he's going to be able to play a heel really well. I'm still kind of upset about the match because I feel like they held back during the match, and we didn't get the dream match that we all thought we were going to get to see. But overall, I think Shinsuke is going to play a good heel, and it'll be good. Next up, after this, I skipped something. So after this, actually, we get an announcement how Naomi was the Battle Royal winner, and then Natalya enters and says, that she wants a match with her. So we got a match between Naomi and Natalya. Naomi ended up getting the win here. Both wrestlers did good during this. Not a lot to say about this one. Neither of them are really involved in storylines right now or anything. Maybe this leads to something. But that was that. Next up after this is we had Charlotte. And then, like Charlotte's talking about how magical her match with Asuka was. And she's ready to make magic with other performers. And then, boom, that's when we get music for the now Iconics, as they have been introduced. They have been called up to SmackDown at this point. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce come out, and they're talking a bunch of smack about Charlotte, and they're making fun of the way she's cutting her promos and thanking everybody. From what I've heard, they have changed to the Iconics with 2 eyes because it's something to do with like copyright deal, so that they can make more shirts with them. Because in NXT, of course, for fans who don't know, when they were part of NXT, they were called the Iconic Duo. Now they are the Iconics. They don't have to worry about any sort of having to give any money to anybody else. So they got their deal, but I'm a big fan of the Iconics when they were down at NXT, so it's really exciting to see them on the main roster now. They, of course, attack Charlotte here, and I think everybody knew what they wanted to happen, because everybody, I think 2 times during Charlotte getting beat here, fans started cheering Carmella, like they were cheering for Carmella to come out and cash in her Money in the Bank. And sure enough, Carmella does run out to the ring here. There's other refs that had come out to the ring because they were breaking up the fight of Charlotte getting beat down in the ring. So Carmella comes running down. She grabs one of the refs. Like, they run into the ring. She's trying to cash in her Money in the Bank. And, of course, WWE does the most annoying thing they do every time somebody tries to cash in Money in the Bank. The ref's acting like he's never seen a Money in the Bank briefcase before, and he doesn't know what he's supposed to do with it. Like, you have this briefcase and it says Money in the Bank on it, and you want me to do what with it now? Oh, this is to do a match? You want me to start a match right now? Like, right now? Okay, I guess I'll get a match started for you, and this is for the title, right? Yes. Carmella's like yelling the whole time. And, I think it's fine that they do this for the Money in the Bank every time there seems to be a Money in the Bank cash in. It's fine that the ref is caught off by surprise, but not for that long. Like, they should be caught up by surprise, like, oh, okay, this is happening right now. But they shouldn't, a lot of times the refs act like, oh, well, like I said, like, they don't know what the thing is or what they're supposed to do with it. Like, they're a referee, they're supposed to know the rules, they're supposed to know what to do with it. So, just be caught by surprise for a few seconds, and then, then we can kind of, get the surprise of like, okay, is the ref going to get this started fast enough for the person to take advantage? At this point, I was thinking, okay, if it's taking this long, I guess, they're making it so Carmella's going to fail her attempt here to cash the Money in the Bank, and Charlotte's going to stay champion. But that's not the case. She cashes in the Money in the Bank. The ref finally does ring the bell. By this time, Charlotte has stood up, but she's been beaten up so badly that Carmella's able to get into super kick just real quick, gets the pin 1, 2, 3, and Carmella is our new SmackDown Women's Champion. And I think that is really exciting. I'm excited for Carmella. I think she's had really good matches lately. She's another one that I think people maybe, had, judgments about her in the past and her wrestling, but she's really good now. Her character is really good, so I think she's going to be a great heel for Women's Champion. I hope this isn't something that's just a short-lived run. I hope she's the champion for a while, and we get to see her, as a heel champion and doing what, we expect to see heel champions do, because I think she'll be really good at it. Next up, after this, we got Bobby Roode versus Randy Orton. And this was to see who's going to face Jinder Mahal for the U.S. title. Rusev was involved in this, of course, as well. So we had Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, and Rusev. Randy Orton got the win, of course, so I guess we're going back to this old bag as well. I always think WrestleMania is supposed to be a kickoff to a new year. But it seems like they're starting off this new year the same way they started off last year's new year. So I don't know what we're doing. I think I'm just as upset as other fans. I want to see Rusev involved in more matches, and I don't want to see him losing all the time. WWE, you are not going to get me to not like Rusev Day, no matter how hard you try. I know originally it was announced that Undertaker was going to take Rusev on at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and then Rusev tweeted something out to Undertaker saying, "Oh, bury me softly," and then he was pulled from the match. And then Rusev changed his whole Twitter profile, removing everything that mentioned WWE and changing his profile picture so that he wasn't in it. And he tweeted out something about "Oh, it'll always be Rusev Day somewhere" type of deal. And there's been rumors that he has not been happy recently with the way WWE is booking him and he shouldn't be, because he should be in a lot more matches and he should be winning the matches, not just losing all the time, because that's what the fans want to see. But WWE seems like they're actively trying to not get us to do that. But yeah, so that's what we got here. Randy Orton got the win. So we're going to see more of that. And next up here, we got an interview with Carmella, and she was saying how she was patient and smart with her Money in the Bank cash-in, and she waited for the perfect moment, and she won the championship. So you were tending to our baby who woke up for a moment. Why don't you talk for a second about what you thought about Carmella cashing in her Money in the Bank and becoming the new women's champion?
Well, I thought it made sense after the Asuka loss. And yeah, I mean, Charlotte got beat up pretty bad, and I even felt like she was getting really hurt. And I thought it was like a cheap shot, but Carmella won, and yeah, like you said, I think she makes a pretty good heel holding the championship, kind of like Alexa did. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next up after this, we got AJ Styles. Was approached in the back, and they want to ask him about Shinsuke Nakamura, and then he actually shows a little bit of emotion here, and he was like, "Oh, don't talk to me about Shinsuke. Next time I see him, I'm going to put my fist down his throat or something." Mm-hmm. And I actually like this because now that Shinsuke has turned heel, it's bringing out a little bit more character in AJ Styles as well, where he's got to act really mad about what happened, and so I think it's going to create that much more of a build for their next match, whenever that is. And hopefully that is the match that we've actually been waiting for, because what I saw at WrestleMania was overall disappointing. I thought they were going to go all out like they did when they fought in Tokyo. So hopefully the next one, that's actually what's going to happen now that Shinsuke has turned heel.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. And then, so this is actually the end of SmackDown. What happened next is that we get the match that we all have been wanting to wait for, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. I felt like this is a really good performance by both of them during the match. But then Shinsuke Nakamura comes out, of course. He interrupts the match. He does a Kinshasa to the back of Daniel Bryan's head. He low blows AJ Styles 2 or 3 times. And I thought that was really good. Because what I like about this setup, who knows? Because we're gonna get the Superstar Shakeup on Monday and Tuesday this week. But man, if we keep AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, now that Shinsuke Nakamura has turned heel, I think this was a perfect way to get a match, like a 3-way feud. AJ Styles is mad at Shinsuke. Daniel Bryan's mad at Shinsuke because he interrupted the match and kicked him in the back of the head. So, now you got a reason for Daniel Bryan to have a match with Shinsuke Nakamura, which I think would also be a really good match.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you see him becoming partners with anybody?
No, I don't. And I don't want to see him partner with anybody. I want to see him just be a heel He's a very unique character. I like the way he's playing the heel. I think he'll do it really well, and I think it's a great way, like I said, that you can set up a perfect storyline for him to fight with AJ Styles more. Perfect reason for him to fight with Daniel Bryan now. Perfect reason for the three of them to have like a triple threat match.
Yeah.
Like with how good all three of those performers are, like I want to see any of those matches. Like those all sound like good matches to me, and I'm excited for those possibilities.
Okay.
As long as they all stay together on the same show. I don't know, maybe one of them will get drafted over to Raw. But I just love the possibilities that it brings about now.
Yeah. There's so many possibilities, and we'll get to see next week.
Yep, we'll see next week. Yeah, but that's the end of the show, because that's the end of the review of Raw and SmackDown. So thank you for tuning in, checking out. For me, I would say this week to go check out the Andre the Giant documentary on HBO. That was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Also on HBO, we've been watching that show with Bill Hader, Barry. That's really good.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, I would say that. So our little wrestling show we got here is a family show, very PG, but Barry is not. So if you're watching with kids, don't go watch Barry with kids, because it's definitely a mature show for adults.
Yeah.
But it is something that I definitely would suggest. You have any suggestions this week?
Probably to try and get sleep.
Try and get sleep. Okay, that's a good suggestion. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to the wrestling show. This has been your Raw and SmackDown review. I'll be back after this with a review of SmackDown and NXT. So until then, bye.
Bye.